How's it going? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Bit nervous?
No, to be honest, I'm just going to chat a load of rubbish.
Yeah, shout a load of shit on the stream, why not? That's all I do every time. I just want to quickly do a couple. I'll try. I've got plenty of experience, to be fair. Because the last thing we need is actually, I think we can hear us here from this turn now. But yeah, just want to make sure we can hear you on. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Bit nervous?
No, to be honest, I'm just going to chat a load of rubbish.
Yeah, shout a load of shit on the stream, why not? Stop the music. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Motive Racing channel. Once again, we're here on our Wednesday night show for our cross-play multi-class series here for the GT3s and the GT4s. We're here for round 3 of the season, as you may recognise the famous Circuit de Catalunya Barcelona track here in Barcelona, funnily enough, in Spain. And I'm joined today by a very, very special guest in the commentary box. His first time in the box here on the Motive channel. He's been scheduled to be on for a few times, but unfortunately, fate's always had it. We haven't been able to. But for the first time, I want to say a big warm welcome to our admin and coordinator, Sean Freeman, otherwise known as Freeman82, in the Discord server. Welcome along, mate.
Thank you very much, Andy. Pleased to be here.
Good to have you in the box with us. Two-time runner-up of the GT4 division on the crossplay series for the GT4s, so he's got plenty of experience. He knows a lot of the drivers out on the track here tonight, so he knows what he's talking about when it comes to these guys, and maybe might be able to predict a few things that it might be difficult for us from the sidelines watching from the outside in to really understand. But at the moment, we've got a few shake-ups in terms of who's in what category. Obviously, as we saw last time out, Xander Flander driving in. I still can't get used to his new name. He's been a season and a half now, and I still can't get used to his new name. But he's driving in the GT3 category this week. You got guys like Ryan Ruby, John Jig, veterans of the GT4s, Pete Bibb and King Quinn as well, all out there to have set lap times so far in this session. Nielsen looks like he's done lappers in the pits, but plenty of drivers out here who we're familiar with. Looks like it's majority GT3 field tonight, which is a shame for him, because I was hoping tonight we'd have a few GT4s, but it looks like that they're all a bit shy of those GT4 cars, unfortunately.
Yeah, it must be having myself in the commentary box might have put them off. But no, unfortunately, so Cololengo sent a message earlier on saying that so he's out in Italy, and unfortunately he's not going to be able to make the race tonight. He did try sorting out a wheel for tonight, which he said he did get, but he couldn't get it working. So unfortunately, literally last minute, he had to pull out.
Has he got a house over there then in Italy? Has he got an apartment or?
I think family.
Oh, family, fair play. I suppose you've got to give it to him, the determination there that he wanted to race while staying with his family in Italy. You've got to give it to him there, I suppose.
Well, he's being that he's now top of the league. I think he was desperate to try and get on and actually continue that, to try and win the championship. He's got rivals close to him, so but unfortunately it didn't work out, and he wasn't able to actually get the wheel sorted for tonight. What actually happens is we had another request for a GT3 guys wanted to drive as a reserve, and just to try and fill out the grid. I thought we'd accept it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've got 10 cars in the GT3s tonight. We did have another driver in the lobby a minute ago. I don't know what's happened. We had 17 in the server. We've now down to 16. So I think somebody's jumped out. We're not quite sure who at this point, but hopefully it was a GT4 driver who's just on their way back in. Fingers crossed. But I don't actually know. Didn't have a close enough look to see. But it looks like all the GT4 cars at the moment have done lap times, and we'd really love to see a couple more GT4 drivers. Just looking at the leaderboard, is Duke Martin not here? I think Duke Martin's still on his way. Don't know if I can't see him on the leaderboard. Don't know if he's jumping in, but he's one GT4 car.
Again, sorry, Andy. Struggles to get here in time for qualifying. Just purely based on where he lives.
It's based on the earliness, isn't it? Because he has to get up at silly o'clock, doesn't he, to race here? So that makes sense. Yeah, because he has to get up. What is it, 3-4 o'clock in the morning to race here? I think
something like that, isn't it? Yeah.
I've seen that. I thought that's dedication. You've got to definitely. Yeah, you can't knock him for that. But we're watching Ryan at the moment anyway. He's coming out of the last corner. Let's see if he can improve his lap times at the moment. He's currently sat in the mid 154s here as he's coming up towards the line. Can he improve on that? He's got a bit of a gap back to John Jig. Improves by a couple of tenths, but not major gains at this point. But I'd hate to say, at this early stage, Freeman, but at the moment it's looking like Ryan's got quite a considerable advantage. And, without the likes of yourself and Xander Flander and Cheese Monkey obviously in the GT3s, and obviously COD missing from this week as well. Could we see Ryan potentially lapping his GT4 counterparts here?
I think there's every possibility. I mean, I actually looked at the lap times that we did not last season, the season before, and it was myself that was on pole, and I only was able to achieve a 155.2. So he's almost a second quicker than what I was last season.
I suppose it's just the game evolution, isn't it? People are making more headway with setups, and people are figuring it out more and more. Each time the physics changes, it kind of knocks you back a little bit because the whole model changes, and then each and every time that you're on the same sort of physics pattern, if you like, not pattern, I don't know what I'm talking. What I'm trying to say? It's like this is the same sort of physics that we've had for a while now, and I think that everybody's getting on top of it more and more. So you're seeing more setup evolution. You're seeing the times coming down each time we come back to certain tracks, and I'm sure it'd be the same if you were out on track right now. I think with a little bit of testing and conferring with the Run DJC boys, I think you'd probably be in the same boat as he is right now, but it's obviously difficult to say, isn't it? But he's looking very quick at the moment.
I'll definitely be on top, yeah.
Yeah, 100%, of course. we see Nielsen goes into P2 there. He gets himself within a couple of seconds. He just heads John Jig by a couple of tenths. But we're coming towards the end of the GT4 qualifying at the moment. Obviously, the GT4s have the first 10 minutes to themselves out on the track. And the middle 5 minutes is just a bit of time for the drivers to get themselves, to finish the current lap they're on for one, and then to get themselves in the pits. But it looks like Nielsen's done for the session. Snooky can finish the lap he's on right now, but then after that he's got to get himself in the pits ready for that 10-minute mark when the GT3 cars will take to the track. And we've got this little system going. We've had this for the first couple of rounds. We've had this every time we've had a multi-class series on, which is where the GT4s and the GT3s do take to the track separately. And it's just to avoid any he said, she said, handbags nonsense going on in the Discord. We don't want to be seeing the GT3 drivers saying, oh, so-and-so is in my way, and the GT4 drivers saying, well, I was on a lap myself, you should have backed off. So we don't want any of that. We just want we just want to see some clean racing from both classes, and ultimately we don't want to be seeing any problems going off. So the race is a different story. Obviously the GT3 cars will be coming around to lap the GT4s at some point throughout the race. That's a given, but hopefully once they're a bit spread out and they're not all trying to go as fast as they can in qualifying laps, we should be seeing a little bit more courteous driving. But nonetheless, to see what Snooky can do here, because he's currently sat in 6th at the moment in this qualifying session. He's 3 seconds off of the pace of Ryan, but he's not too far off of Pete Bibb and King Quinn at the moment. He's got only about a second to find to put himself in P4. He's coming through that final chicane. Has he backed out of it? I think he has. Yeah, he has well and truly backed out of that. So Snooky clearly not on an improvement. He's into the pits. But Ryan currently setting a very strong pace at the moment, Freeman. In terms of your knowledge of the GT4s at Catalonia, what sort of track is it to drive here as the tyre wear? What's it like in general?
There's parts of it that are tricky. I think coming out of turn 2 or turn 3, I think it's classed as, you've really got to be patient on hitting the throttle. Where it doesn't have as much downforce as the GT3s, you really have to delay. Otherwise you will kind of go off track, potentially get track limit warnings. But it's really difficult to not put your foot down. You kind of feel like you're turning in and you feel like the car's rotating round.
Yeah, it's one of those. I've heard the term for corners like this used by another commentator on another league. It's the corner that you call a hurry up and wait corner kind of thing. It's one of those never-ending corners where you actually have to wait and be patient, and you'll actually go faster if you wait that little bit. As soon as you start thinking, right, I've got to put my foot down, you've got to then just get a hold of yourself and wait a second and then put your foot down. It's one of those kind of corners. Yeah, definitely.
But in terms of tyre wear, it's not hugely bad on tyre wear because there's not a huge amount of fast corners. It's heavy braking zones. But it doesn't really push on the tyres too much.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say overall, I think tyre wear you could potentially get away with doing the full stint on one tyre. But personally, I've always opted to change tyre.
Yeah, you're going to be losing hand over fist at the end, aren't you? I think once you get to the latter stages of the race, you're going to be sliding around too much. It probably wouldn't. It wouldn't be beneficial, would it? I suppose overall, the time you're going to lose in the pits is nothing compared to what you'd lose in race time, really, isn't
Absolutely.
it? It's definitely not a fair trade-off. But we've just seen Evo Guy jump in the session. I don't know if he was here before. Somebody else has jumped in, so we have now got 17 cars on the grid. I don't know if Evo Guy tried to change his number because he said in the Discord that he was going to go with number 97 this season. Obviously, for those who know Ian rather well, he is a bit of a fan of the treble 6. But Tour Days picked that one up for this season, so it's meant that Ian's had to make do with another number. But looks like he hasn't gone for the 97, which he said he was going to go for. He is driving into 667. So I think he's maybe tried to change that, but something's gone wrong somewhere. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, we've got just under a minute to go until the start of the GT3 qualifying session here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if we've actually got quite a few comments coming in right now. We've got quite a lot of the Motive fans here in the comments, so let's read them out. We got JR says, good luck to my boys out on track. Cod's missing tonight due to equipment failure. Yep, Freeman's told us about that one. We got JR also looking forward to hearing a co-voice on the comms. Obviously that's Freeman here alongside us tonight for his first time in the comms box, former 2-time runner-up of the GT4s. Cheese Monkey says, not a drop of practice for tonight, default aggressive setup time. Well, he's done a decent job in the last couple of rounds, so I certainly wouldn't be surprised if he's up there battling for the podium and possibly even a win. Who knows? He knows this track well. I think if I remember correctly, didn't Cheese Monkey take the win last time we raced here in the GT4s? If it's you, Freeman, I do apologise.
Yeah, he definitely did, yeah.
Yeah.
I binned it on turn 3 or 4, and he then took the pole position from me, and that was it. I wasn't able to get in front of him. So yeah, he did take the win.
Yeah, he knows his track well. He's pretty quick around every track, his Cheese Monkey, but I think this is one of his best ones. So I won't be surprised at all if he manages to make the best of this situation. We got the Lazy Camel says managed to get some stuff done, so going to watch live. Excellent stuff. Good to hear Freeman on comms as well, says the Lazy Camel. We got rock and roll, everyone, says Tour Day in the comments. This is the senior rater, Tour Day 666 here, slow as a snail and the blue flag specialist. Well, as long as you don't cause any carnage out on the track, Tour Day, you're more than welcome. It doesn't matter how fast you are, it's all about how clean you are. JR says, who's the other sexy voice on the comms? I'm just glad it's good.
All about you, Andy.
No, I think it's always good to know that JR approves of the sound of our dulcet tones, isn't it? I mean, it's I'm very flattered by that. Always nice to see JR's compliments in the comments section. We've got the Later Camel says Penelope Cruz is sexy. P1 baby. Ryan says Snooky outlap. Top job, Ryan. Racing says JR. Pretty happy to see his run. DJC boy doing a great job here. Good going, Ryan says Later Camel. Should be your race tonight. It's looking very much at this point like it is going to be a bit of a walkover for Ryan in the GT4 class, but I would love to be proved wrong. And the only way that we're going to see, I think, us be proved wrong in this one is if Ryan gets some damage in the first corner. But never say never. Who knows what might happen at the start. We got Ryan saying absolutely destroyed the quali lap. Good luck to the Mad Max, says JR. OG racer, he says. Has he raced on Project Cars too? I think I might. Do you know what? I think that's the Mad Max that used to race on PC too, isn't it? JR, let me know. I'm pretty sure it is. Moral of the story: the moral of the rest of the GT4 field. I say shattering the morale of the GT4 field. Sunday drive, kid, manage your race. Yeah, will do, says Ryan. So pretty clear there what the instructions from JR are to Ryan Freeman in the comments section. Just saying, just keep your head, keep it cool. You don't need to push in this one.
Yeah, I think one thing that Ryan's struggled with is his consistency over the course of the whole hour. I think if he was able to kind of be a bit more consistent, I think we would actually see him a lot higher up the grid. I think he would have won a lot more races than he has done with Motive, not just in the GT4s, but also in the GT3s as well. Because he's got the pace. I think it's clear to see that he's got the pace, but yeah, it's just that consistency. He's just always subject to a little bit of a mistake here and there, which costs him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if he just managed to get on top of these little blemishes, then he would have taken, I could think of at least 4 or 5 races where this could have happened. The one that always sticks out to me was Monza in the GT3s a couple of weeks ago for the first round of the season, where he had that one pretty much, he had that wrapped around his little finger. Yeah. And it was just a strategy that let him down in that one when he came into the pits and his tyre pressures were all wrong. And that was unfortunately the undoing of him. He did actually take his first win though last week. In this series, it was last week at Zolder. He took the class win for the GT4s, holding off Cod, who it would have also been his first win if he had managed to get him. So, but we even saw then, Ryan almost did his best to throw that one away as well. He had a bit of damage towards the end and just held on. So, it's little things that could have gone wrong, but ultimately he got away with that one.
And I think once you start to kind of get those first couple of wins under your belt, your confidence starts to grow. And I found myself, the mistakes start to creep out. You're not making as many because you're more confident in the car and in your driving ability as well.
Yeah, it's just, it's ultimately the more practice you get in a certain car and over the course of a season, you do get that bit of affinity. I mean, you're a driver who's always seemed to switch cars from one season to the next. I remember you were in the Audi for season 1, wasn't it? And then didn't you do a couple of seasons in the BMW?
So did the seasons. Audi, then the Merc, and then the BMW. Yeah,
BMW for was it the Super season and the next one after that, or was it? Yes, I can't remember. Yeah, right, it was. Yeah. But I remember one of your strongest seasons was in the BMW, and I think does it help when you've driven one season in a car going into another one, or do you feel just like a little bit more excited about having been in a new car? Because I can tell you my answer to that one, but I'll come to you first. When you've done a season in a car beforehand, do you find you have a lot more confidence going into the next one? Do you find you usually have a better season in your second season in the car?
I did with the BMW. I felt I had a better season. Unfortunately, it did get the season that we had did get cut short because of the PlayStation 5 update. But yeah, I was a lot more comfortable going into the second season. But what I tend to find before finding the BMW was I just got bored of driving the same car. Kind of wanted to challenge myself and see what car kind of suited my style in kind of more race environments. It's easy to kind of do hot lapping, but you don't get to know the car until you do a full season, and you get into situations that you wouldn't necessarily get into in a hot lap.
I know exactly what you mean. Because when you jump into a new car that suits you and that you feel good in, it doesn't take much time at all to end up being quick in it. But in order to be able to drive a full race without making a mistake, that does take a few races. It takes plenty of experience under your belt to be able to do that. I mean, I've raced some project cars too in a GT3 league on Thursday nights, and I'm in my second season currently in a BMW in that one. And I found that over the course of the first season, I had the quali pace from day one, from race one, but the race pace, it's been lacking up to a point, and then now I've finally got myself into it. Oh, you see Cheese Monkey having a bit of a moment there. Sorry, I've just had to come to that as he was just getting a bit wide there onto the gravel. He said before he hasn't done much practice. He's been kind of winging it for tonight in terms of the setup. 8/10 off for the pace, just pushing it a little bit too hard there. Got time to find. In fact, you know what? I'm going to stop talking about me. I'm going to stop talking about the racing, because we've actually got quite a tight battle at the top here. We've only got 3 cars separated by 0.3 of a second right now. Xander Flander continuing to bring the pace that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. His first race obviously in the GT4s. Last week he joined the GT3 class, and he's coming out of the last corner here in that Bentley. Let's see what he can put on the board here. Can he dip into the 44s? He can dip into the 44s. He's done a 44.904. So that is a superb lap there from Xander Flander. So I'm going to try and get used to calling him SLP Xander, because actually we've got a little bit of a partnership going on now, Freeman, haven't we, with the whole simleaguepro.com. We're running the little cash prize events, which we're hoping to make a sort of a weekly thing on a Wednesday night, starting up next week at Donington Park. And pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the work that the guys have done on the Sim League Pro has been really, really good. I mean, it takes a lot of our work away from us in terms of kind of updating the leagues, getting confirmations from the drivers and stuff like that.
Definitely.
I'm finding it makes life for myself a lot easier in terms of kind of keeping everything updated. And even with stuff that I want to add on. Little things that I send Laser Camel a quick message on Discord, and literally within minutes he's like, yeah, I'll get onto that.
He's very hands-on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I'm really pleased that we've kind of taken that step to join them.
So am I.
And actually use their service. I mean, it's really good.
So am I. It's such a neat layout as well, the whole thing that they've got with their website. In fact, actually coming to this has actually reminded me, I'm glad that we've kind of gone onto this, because actually they've got a really, really cool feature on their website, which I've completely forgotten about until now. As you know, often, Freeman, you'll drop me little pointers in the staff chat on Discord. You'll be saying, look, make sure you mention this in the stream, and I just get so carried away on the streams that I just completely slips my mind to do half of these things that we talk about beforehand. But let me just get this up, because this is a really, really sick feature that we've got on this SLP. So for commentators who commentate on the leagues, or indeed even if you're not a commentator, you could probably still select the feature. But if you want to get some background info on anything in terms of SLP's races, so obviously We Emotive are in collaboration with SLP, so we've got access to these little features they got. We've got now form guides for each and every driver involved in these leagues. So SLP Xander, got a bit of information here about him. His last 5 races he's raced. Actually, no, we'll forget about those first 3 and we'll just go with those last 2. So we got, sorry, apologies, but no, I'm not going to talk about that league. But we got we got the last 2 races. His last 2 races under the SLP sort of flagship. He's got double win. He's got 2 wins, should I say? One in the GT4 class at Brands Hatch, and the other one being the GT3s at Zolder last week. Both here at Motive on ACC. So his last 2 races here have both resulted in wins. Also, for a bit of context, he did take a win in another league, Alton Park, and that was in the GT3 class. That was a practice race, I think, for a league. But yeah, he's a man who I think doesn't like coming second or third or any position that isn't first, by the looks of it. And you can see this by his recent results here. This is a man who oozes class in any category, in any car that he drives.
Yeah, and he's taken it up to another level as well in terms of his racing. Kind of as we were speaking about earlier, I think he's now kind of at the top. Although we just actually see Video Gamer just put in a ridiculously fast lap as well at a 1:44.6, takes first place actually off Xander. But yeah, he's a really good driver, really good competitor actually. When he first joined the league, and him had a few moments where contact was made, and that's just purely because we were battling hard.
I remember Zolder 2 seasons ago. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, we kind of exchanged words, not kind of aggressively or anything, but exchanged words, and like a mature driver that he is, and you can see that on track. It's all forgotten, it's all in the past. And actually, quite often, me and him will just speak privately as well, and enjoy kind of just chatting about different things about racing and stuff like that. So, yeah,
it's like collisions are part and parcel of racing, but ultimately we're all here because we enjoy sim racing and we enjoy taking part in the competition. And a bit of healthy competition isn't going to harm anyone. Always we see Max going a bit wide. I think he's the last driver on a lap, and he's just coming into the pits here. But obviously you're going to have disagreements out on track, and there's always going to be moments where you get annoyed at somebody for something that happens. When you've got two people going flat out battling for the lead and there's a collision, I think nobody's going to accept responsibility. You're both going to feel in any situation like you're in the right. But I think what you say about how you can really click with a lot of people here, down to the fact that we all share a certain hobby, and Xander Flander's one of those who's always usually clean out on track, and a great member of this community as well. He's always chiming in the general chat sections and the little mini sections that we got on the Discord as well. Regular commenter. Also, big shout out to Xander because he always comments on the streams afterwards. One of the drivers that always says something in the little comment section, not the live comments, but the ones underneath the actual video itself. Always says a little, just like a token of his gratitude, really, and it's really appreciated. He always says something after every stream, so big shout out to him. But yeah, always appreciated any of the support that we get here for what we do. But it's currently Video Gamer anyway, starting up on pole position for the GT3 class here at Barcelona. Xander found a 2/10 adrift, so Video Gamer's really pulled it out of the bag here around a track that I think a lot of the drivers know quite well. So he's clearly stepped it up to another level here. Xander found a line up alongside him on the front row with Recco Vantage in third place, had Luck Morato fourth, followed by Cheese Monkey in fifth, and Just Don sixth. Again, I'm never sure whether it's just Dan's or just Don's, but it's one of the two anyway. Mad Max in seventh with Emo Guy in eighth place, and then Grandesty and PS Vid rounding out the top 10. That's the GT3 class. We're going to have Torde also in the GT3 class in 11th, then Ryan Ruby leading the GT4 pack ahead of Nilsson, John Jig, Pete Bibb, and King Quinn and Snooky at the back. So 17 cars on the grid for this one. Freeman, I've got to ask you, obviously, we have a lot of power in this commentary box, and we can certainly ruin somebody's race before it's even started by what we say in these next few seconds. But in terms of the GT3 class, first of all, who's your money on?
GT3, I'm going to not sit on the fence as such, but I would say, it's an impressive lap by Video Gamer. I think it's either going to be between Xander and Cheese Monkey. It's where my money would be.
Cheese Monkey over the course of a race, obviously it's an hour long, and he's already on the pace already. But with the amount of practice that he's done over the course of this week, he's only going to improve and get quicker as this race goes on. So I think that's a good shout there. I'm going to go for Video Gamer just because I don't want to go for the same, but also because it's lining up on his first pole position, a really strong qualifying session. I think he probably likes this track quite a bit. So I'm going to put my money on Video Gamer. Let's hope we haven't cursed any of those three guys though. In terms of GT4s, I think for me I can't look past Ryan Ruby. It's just, I think that one is a foregone conclusion, barring any major incidents. I think I can't see anything else happening. I don't know about you, but for me that one's done.
I agree, yeah. I think Ryan should bring this home. Although I was impressed with Nelson's lap as well, actually. He put in a fairly solid lap. He wasn't overly far off of Ryan. It's been an interesting battle between him and John Duke, because their qualifying times were actually very close. But yeah, in terms of the win, this should be Ryan's. It's his to lose, shall we say.
Yeah, so we both agree on Ryan in the GT4 class. Let us know in the comments, guys, who you reckon is going to take the win in each of these classes. Obviously, there's not just one prize up for grabs here. There are two of equal prestige, albeit the GT4 grid a little bit lower than what we would have wanted it to be tonight. We're missing Cod and Duke Martin, so hopefully we'll be getting those guys in for the next one. But for the time being, we're without them. We've got lots of comments coming in on the YouTube stream. So let's get to all of you guys. Auto Butcher, evening all. Looking forward to a good race. Also, good luck, Ian, says JR. But Auto Butcher there, father of Cheese Monkey. We only found that out after about a season of him being in the comments. But always here to support his boy. But looking forward to everybody also putting in a good show. We've got Laser Camel says good luck to Nilsson. P2, great positioning. David Snooky will be lining up at the back of the field for this one. He says Ryan is in a different universe, aim to finish tonight, stay out of trouble. I'm still crying about that, Andy. Ryan says about the Monza race. Well, you've broken your duck now, so it can't be as painful as it was, but obviously it's never good to see a win slip through your fingertips. But I think you got this one, Ryan. You'd have to really, really mess up tonight to lose this one. The Lazy Camel says, good luck, David Snooky. Good luck to see you running tonight. Good to see you running tonight. Also, that GT3 top 4 is tight. It's not quite as tight as it was, but I reckon it's going to be very close between all four of those guys. And probably Cheese as well. In fact, it's going to be tight between everyone, I would say. Lazy Camel says Xander is super competitive in anything he does. Used to run with him when he was down here in Spain and would always push it to the limits. Joe, evening everyone. Good luck to all the drivers. Lightblade says evening chaps. Evening Lightblade, welcome along. Good to see you. Joe, I'm also F1 champion on a Friday night on the Codemasters F1 game. Hi Lightblade says Joe, the Lazy Camel, going to be a great GT3 fight. Looking forward to this. Go Xander. Ryan, don't curse me. Lightblade saying Ian for the win in the GT3. That is a bold prediction. Freeman, I don't know about that one. I mean, Emo Guy is always good for making his way through, but
I was going to say he loves to give himself a challenge. I was actually on comms with him and Ryan before jumping on here, and I just had to talk him through how to ready up for the race. Didn't start off in
Oh, I bet he loves that. I remember Monza GT4's first round of last season. Oh, I remember that so well. But he did such a good job in that race, though. He went from, because we had a full 20 car grid that night, and he started from the pits and worked his way up into P5. So he is somebody who never shies away from. Oh no, what's going on here? Just ons. Oh my god, what's going on there? Did you see that? That is unbelievable. Just Dons has just stacked it coming through the turn 6 and 7 S bit, and he's now making his way back to his position. Sorry to jump in there, mate. I do apologise. Sorry. Ian is definitely going to hit his locker. I think we know he's similar to what you said about Cheese Monkey getting stronger as the race goes on. Ian's definitely one of those guys that, as he gets more into the race, he definitely gets quicker and quicker. So much more of a racer than a qualifier.
Could be a dark horse for this.
Yeah, I get you now, and I get where Lightblade's coming from with that one. We got Lazy Camel saying to Ryan not to curse himself. Joe, I'm a guy for the win, of course. Wow, lots of support coming in for Ian tonight. Lazy Camel, of course my money is on Xander, but good luck to all in the GT3s that close quality. We've also got Joe saying Cheese Monkey's a fast one, right? Yep, he's pretty quick. And Matthew Jordan, as well as Cam Diz saying, here if you remember me, hoping to get back to racing again soon. Be good to have you back on the track, Cam Diz. I remember the one standout thing about you is the GT4's last race of the season at Alton Park. Might have been season 3 or something. Can't remember. It was the season that Cheese Monkey won the championship for the first time. I remember you absolutely blitzed it that night. Nobody could touch you. That's just my standout memory of you. But here we are, we're racing once again. Lightweight says no on track sound, guys, or very, very low. It is very low. That's just so you can hear us on the stream, as we've been a bit quiet. Hopefully now the engines are up to full speed. We should be able to hear them quite well. But down towards turn 1 we come for the first time, and Xander Flanders already looking to try and make the move around the outside of Video Gamer late on the brakes, though, as he pushes him out a little bit. Slight bit of contact there between the two of them. Video Gamer holds on to the lead. Recco Vantage loses a couple of places. Oh no, and Cheese Monkey and Recco Vantage to come together. Cheese Monkey is off onto the gravel there, coming between turns 2 and 3. Nightmare of a start there for Cheese Monkey. Recco Vantage drops the position, and it looks as though he's lost out here to one of the others here just up the front. But Video Gamer, Xanafander, Luck Morato is the one who's squeezed into 3rd place there. PS Fids looking to try and make headway, has just got ahead of of Reco Vantage, and Emo Guy running in P7 on the back of these guys, but Reco Vantage with that little bit of a collision, but with Cheese Monkey now looking back down the inside of PS Vids, can't get anything done there. Video Gamer though holding on to pole position ahead of Sander Fander, Luck Morato just dons PS Vids the top 5, and Cheese Monkey will be cursing that one. But to be fair, it looked like a bit of a racing incident there between himself and Reco Vantage, which he's come way worse off of, and is currently Video Gamer now with not much of a lead over Sander Fander, but that was a very unfortunate incident there between Reco Vantage and Cheese Monkey. As we can see here, we've got a move coming in towards the turn 9 left-hander. We can see there Emo Guy looking down the inside of Reco Vantage. Reco Vantage trying to hold it around the outside for turn 10. Emo Guy gives him the space and tucks in behind. Thinks better of going for that one. I think he just about added those alongside, but thought better of dipping it up the inside there, as it's a long race. You don't want to be ruining it on that one. But Grandad Stee and Mad Max right behind him. Torde there rounding out the GT3 main pack at the moment, with Cheese Monkey way down the field looking to try and pick his way back through. He's making a move on Pete Bibb there of the GT4 class, but Video Gamer already opening up a little bit of a gap here over Sander Fander, Luck Morato. There's just Dons. You've got Reco, Emo Guy, Grandad Stee, Mad Max and Torde all in your shot at the moment. Let's have a look at the GT4 cars. We've got John Jig currently hassling the back of being hassled by Nilsson even, but Nilsson's actually backing off here down the start finish straight, and looks like he's going to be passed by King Quinn maybe. King Quinn's going to try and make this one around the outside of turn 1. Has he got the legs though? That's the question. It looks like Nilsson's going to hold on to that one for now. But Cheese Monkey is going to be kicking himself after that one, Freeman, down in P17, and he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I think maybe we did curse him. I mean, I didn't actually see the incident itself. I was kind of keeping my eye on the GT4s, where John Jig actually made a jump on Nilsson right off the start and actually got the move done going into turn 1. But it's been three-way battle there. They've been quite close between John Jig, Nilsson and King Quinn. I think that could be quite an interesting one to kind of keep an eye on. They're still within kind of a second of each other, so Ryan is kind of pulling away a little bit, potentially because of the battling as well.
Yeah, it's definitely helping.
I think it was me at this early stage. I kind of looked to try and put my head down rather than trying to get involved in some battling, and to try and close that gap and try and keep on top of Ryan. As we were saying earlier, we know he's prone to a mistake, put some pressure on.
It's so difficult though when you're in a situation where you're falling off with the leader a little bit, and they're obviously a bit quicker down to the battle that you're having behind. It's really difficult to kind of like accept that maybe you're better off just kind of tucking in, because you always feel like you can go quicker than the guy that's in front of you, and if you're losing time to somebody who's up ahead of both of you, the last thing you want to be doing is tucking in, because you just don't trust the guy who's directly in front of you to get his foot down. You think, no, I can do better than him. I can get ahead of him and I can drive off. But ultimately, the more time that you spend squabbling, the more time it's going to lose you in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, right now John Jig's still holding on ahead of Nilsson. Nilsson is looking pretty racy here as they're coming out of the final corner. But John Jig, you can see here weaving around, trying to break the toe a little bit, and Nilsson trying to stay with him. And it looks like John Jig's definitely got the pace in a straight line over the Audi of Nilsson. King Quinn in the background in the AMG, not making too many gains at this point. But
interesting one a bit further up in the GT4's got Just Dan's getting pressured from Reco and an Emo just behind him as well.
Yeah, Just Dan's he's dropped off a little bit off of PS Vids, but Reco Vantage with that difficult start to the race. He had that collision with Cheese Monkey very early. Cheese Monkey, talking about him, he's up to P15. He's picked up a couple of the GT4 cars. It's going to be a long way back for him, but Reco Vantage currently in the middle of the battle here, and Just Dan's is just keeping on to... Oh no, he's just lost it. Oh god, Cheese... Oh no, he's just caught him out there. Reco Vantage, nowhere to go, has been also caught out in the wall as well, but Just Dan's lost it on the exit of turn 8, and he swerves back onto the track there. Dangerous driving there as it was Reco Vantage again. Those two can't get enough for each other at the moment. But Reco Vantage and Just Dan's having a little bit of a collision, which was really just all down to Just Dan's losing it out of turn 8.
And Nilsson's just actually come off as well, which has given King Quinn the chance to go straight up the inside and take that position off of Nilsson.
It's all going off here in the moment, here in the first couple of laps. As now we can see Nilsson, Cheese Monkey looking down the inside of King Quinn. So he's picked off another GT4 driver here, but Nilsson there has dropped a little way off of John Jig, and he's now off at the podium for the GT4 class. So he'll be frustrated with that one then. But we look back up to the battle in the GT3s, the big winner in that little scuffle there was Emo Guy, because he's now in 5th place and he's only 3 seconds off of Lockmarato. He's only 5 seconds off of a podium spot already, so Emo Guy is going to be rubbing his hands together and wondering what he's done to deserve this. But yeah, he's currently climbing the order a little bit now, and he's keeping the gap at around the same to PS Fids, so it's not really going up, it's not really going down, it's kind of really just staying at around the same at this point. But we've got Reco Vantage still just ahead of just Dan's, and these two separated by 8/10, so they clearly want a little bit more from each other at this point. Torde only 3 seconds behind, he's still keeping himself there. Torde's a driver who I know has been in the chat section quite a bit in the Discord, and he's been talking to the rest of the community. I know he's trying to find ways of improving and getting quicker and getting his pace up, and right now he's a considerable way ahead of Ryan, who is leading the GT4 pack at this point. So, you know, it's little steps, it's baby steps, it always is with sim racing, but ultimately I'm impressed with Torde so far because he's keeping with the rest of the GT3 class better than he has done over the last couple of weeks. So it clearly shows that practice does pay off, and that hard work always works out in the end.
Yeah, you've got Max actually hassling in the back of Grandad's shoe. Interesting choice in the Honda.
It is, yeah, a bit ballsy from Mad Max, but I'd say it's probably going to be struggling in a straight line. You would imagine it's not going to be the quickest down this straight. It's probably going to struggle to keep without Bentley, I would imagine. But well, they're coming down the start-finish straight now. Yeah, you can see he seems to be losing time despite being in the slipstream, and obviously he'll be a little bit quicker in the corners, in the slower parts, the middle sectors and that, but you can see Grandad's gained 2/10 on him down the straight, and that's, you know, with the slipstream. So Mad Max is going to be quick in these parts of the track, but at the moment he seems to just not have the measure to be able to get ahead of Grandad's at this point. But I haven't driven the Honda on ATC. I've driven it. I know it's not the best on Project Cars, but in terms of this game, it seems to be a similar package. It seems quick in the corners, but just down the straights, it's a sitting duck.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me, because I haven't driven it that much. Kind of given it a bit of a test. Wasn't for my liking, in all fairness. But yeah, I think, like you say, it's a Ginetta-esque kind of against the other cars. You know, it's just
the Ginetta of the GT3s.
Yeah, good for handling, but not so strong down the straights. We've actually just seen Nelson's made the move on Kingpin, so he's now back up into 3rd place for the GT3s. Sorry.
Yeah, good, nice stuff there from Nilsson. I think in the GT3 class, it's a little bit of it's a trickier one, because obviously the whole idea of the Honda, it's got brilliant downforce. It's, as we know, it's got a lot of grip through the corners, but I think with the whole setup of the GT3 cars having a lot more downforce in general, I think there's a lot less to be gained from going down that route. And I think that the sacrifice and the loss in power is definitely it's not really the trade-off that I think you'd want to have in this class. And you can see here he just doesn't really seem to have an answer to Grandad's at the moment. Grandad's seems to just be holding on to this one. Seems to know what he's doing there in that position. He's lost a couple of seconds to Emo Guy, but doesn't seem to be dropping off majorly at this point. Emo Guy's gaining a little bit on PS Vids. That gap's now down to 2.3. It was about 3.4 the last time I looked. So Emo Guy is making little progress here, but he's falling off of Lockmarato. So Lockmarato's definitely got the pace of it. Emo Guy at this point. The top three seem to have the measure of everybody else, but it's Video Gamer who's currently got the ascendancy here in this race. Since holding on to pole position on the first lap, he's pretty much controlled this race, and Xander Flanders going to have to work pretty hard if he wants to make it 3 in a row here at Motive, that is for sure. Got a few comments coming in right now. Joam says Emo Guy already won a position, right? Good driving. Any chance you could turn up the track volume a little bit? Yeah, we can. Like, hold on, let me just flick to the hub screen, and we'll have that on in just a second. Apologies guys if you are just noticing there that we're not showing the action. I don't really want to show the menu on the stream. It doesn't really look too professional, so I like to turn that off. But let me know. It should be a happy medium, this. Let me know what it's like, guys. But yeah, hopefully that should be somewhere in the middle. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Let us know, guys, if that's a little bit better. Lightblade, let us know but that should maybe just amend a few of the audio issues there. But yeah, we got Lightblade says, also is it me or is Cheese driving the older Porsche? I don't know. Freeman, do you know? I can't tell.
I wouldn't be able to tell either.
No, I have no idea, because I remember back in the early days of ACC, 2018 and 2019 Porsche were the two options. And I remember because the Porsche was the first car, incidentally, it's the first car that I drove on ACC in the GT3 class. First car that I really got to grips with. And I remember somebody, obviously, who's got an eye for detail, said to me, what are you driving the 2018 Porsche for? And I thought, what, am I? Didn't know that. And yeah, all of a sudden I managed to find about half a second a lap around most tracks. This was back when I had a little bit of a play around with ACC. Haven't got much practice on this game, but the one claim to fame I have got was finishing P2 to Javier Ranz around Suzuka. That's the one thing that I've done good on this game ever, and that's because I practiced for an entire week hoping I could actually stop his win run. Couldn't do it. Not possible. The guy's an alien. Wasn't possible. But I did try. But no, didn't work out. We got Joam says, yeah, we can hear a little bit better now. Would say it's perfect voice, still loud and clear. That's perfect. We'd like to get a little mash-up. Nice happy medium there. We've also got Joam saying, evening Viper to Viper. Viper says, hello mate, welcome along Viper. Head of the XL leagues, XL run on F1 and on Gran Turismo 7 now as well. Haven't been able to do the comms on F1 for a little while now, but they'll be running on Mondays and Fridays for the Gran Turismo 7 leagues. I myself am going to be on the mic for that. We will be broadcasting that to this channel. If anybody wants to get involved in some Gran Turismo 7 action, head over to the XL Racing League. It's at the top of our Discord server in the partners section. You can actually join them and you can get involved in their F1 leagues or their Gran Turismo 7 leagues. I can't wait to get a bit of experience doing comms on the GT7 leagues. That will be another feather in my cap, so to speak, in terms of racing games that I've commentated on. Should be fun. JR says he remembers me racing in here in a 911. I don't think you do. I don't think you do, mate. I was racing in the 488, a Ferrari 488 in those days. Freeman, if you're confused as to what's going on here, JR, back in his commentating days, did actually commentate on a Project Cars 2 GT3 league called Rubbings Racing on a Sunday night. And yeah, I always had problems back in those days with tyres, because I used to only drive the soft tyres and they always used to burn up after a couple of laps. I never used to be able to go a couple more laps without spinning. Quick in quali I was always up there. I could never beat Yasko VR. Some people will remember him, absolute alien of a driver. Could never beat him, but I could often get it in second on the front row, and then after 3 or 4 laps of flat out racing trying to keep up with him, I'd end up always spinning the car because my soft tyres would just burn up in no time. But no, JR, I remember what you're talking about, but it was the Ferrari 488. It wasn't on 911. But unless you mean ACC. But no, I don't think we haven't raced on ACC. We raced once on ACC. I think that was at the Nürburgring. Can't remember. Maybe we have. But nonetheless, we've got just Dan's currently just closing a little bit on Reco Vantage here. Only 0.8 of a second currently separating those two. Cheese Monkey has picked off Tour Day, so Cheese Monkey now ahead of all the GT4s and Tour Day as well, so he's in the top 10, and he's only a couple of seconds behind Mad Max. So Cheese Monkey has picked himself up well since that first lap skirmish. I
was just looking though, actually, at their time deltas, so the lap times. Cheese Monkey, who's only on his previous lap, has done his best, which was a 1:45.7. Yeah, if you look at Video Gamer Dad's lap time, it's a 1:44.9. Yeah, 1:44.9. So Cheese Monkey is quite way off the pace at the moment.
But he's in traffic as well, isn't he? He's got the turbulent air of the cars in front. It's never as easy, I think, to drive when you're in a pack as it is out the front. I think probably Video Gamer's, I'd say, quickest driver out there, but it's difficult to know, isn't it? I think until they're in clean air, it's difficult to know. I think he might have had to pass Tour Day. Is that his fastest lap, the 45? What it was? Is that his fastest lap of the race so far?
Fastest lap of the race so far, yeah. And he's been in clean air for quite a while, trying to catch up to Tour Day as well. So, yeah, I think he might be struggling a bit. His car does look like he's picked up a bit of damage as well on the left-hand side.
It would make
so
sense.
Struggling with that, yeah. I've just actually looked at Xander's fastest lap, and that's not too far off of. Cheese Monkey's not too far off of that actually. 1:45.4 Xander's hit as his fastest lap. So maybe Video Gamer Dad's pace is just completely out of this world.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got the pace over everyone at the moment. Whether or not he could be riding less fuel, maybe Xander's got fuel to the end, maybe his Video Gamer's going to have to put a little bit in, but saying that, if he has put it full fuel in Xander, then he's missed a trick, because you spend the same amount of time in the pit box regardless of how much fuel you put in the car. With our settings, there's a set time for refueling, and the only variable is tyres. So that could it's not going to make any difference whatsoever. Basically, how much fuel you've got, ultimately you'll lose fuel, but you won't gain anything with the time spent in the pit box. So essentially there is literally
got Cheese Monkey just coming up to the back of Mad Max, coming down the straight.
Yeah, here he comes. He's got a good run here. Is he going to look to the inside coming into... No, he's a little bit too far back at the moment. But I think that Cheese Monkey's going to definitely have an advantage over Mad Max down the straights. But having said that, though, it could be difficult to pass that NSX through the corners, because it is planted as anything.
But the Porsches as well. Porsche's very good at handling handling the corners as well. So it's going to be an interesting battle, because both of those lack kind of the top end speed.
Yeah.
So it might just come down to...
I know what you mean.
Cheese Monkey kind of pressurising Mad Max into a mistake.
I know what you mean. I think maybe the Porsche's got a bit more than the NSX, but you are right. They're both very much orientated around the twisty bits, around traction, and the general corner handling is much better than most of the cars. But let's see if he can get the run here coming out of turn 8. Can he maybe send one on Mad Max? He's still a little bit too far back, and maybe just struggling a little bit in the turbulent area at this point. ACC does replicate the real life feeling of being stuck behind another driver very well. You do lose grip by being stuck behind somebody. So at this point, he's gone through. Max has let him through, I think, there coming through turn 10. I think Max just let off and let him through there, because Cheese Monkey up into 9th place, and I just looked away for a second. I looked to the left, looked at my computer screen, and I looked back, and he was past him. So I don't know. He just breezed past him like he wasn't even there. So I think Max let him pass.
A little bit deep. I think Max went a little bit deep into the corner.
Oh, did he? Fair play.
Cheese Monkey just capitalised and took full advantage.
Fair play. I just looked over to my computer screen, saw we had 20 people watching the screen, stream, sorry, and how he plays at the moment. I want to say a big shout out to the 20 people currently watching us, though, live on the Motive Racing YouTube channel. If you do enjoy, if you like what you see, if you want to get involved, all of those things, go to www.motiveracing.com. But mainly, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, then drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Cheese Monkey here going a bit wide there, coming through turn 5, and it looks like he's going to weather that storm as they're just coming around to put a lap on one of the GT4 cars. That is Pete Bibb there, just coming through the front of your shot, and these two will be making their way through as Pete does not make it too hard for them. And good driving, good conscientious driving there from Pete Bibb doesn't make it difficult at all for them. But Cheese Monkey, a little way behind, just stands. As I said before, the start of this race, he's got a lot of work to do in this one.
And I've just been watching Grandad Stu kind of closing the gap. He was a lot closer than what he is now to the back of Emo. I think we've all seen Emo race enough to know that he's not going to be one to kind of worry, but they're coming up to a bit of traffic.
I'm just noticing here. Sorry to butt in, Freeman, but PS Fids has lost out to both of them. I'm just seeing here on the screen, PS Fids has had a moment, because now Emo Guy and Granasty both ahead of him there, but he's just trying to, as you said before, they're just trying to make a way through Nielsen. But hopefully, it doesn't look like PS Fids has got too much damage. I don't think he's got any damage really. He must have. I imagine he probably dropped it coming through the chicane. It's very easily done. Those sausage curbs, I don't know if you've ever hit those before in practice or a race, but they are a nightmare, I tell you.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like
many a time.
Yeah. no matter what game you play, they are a little bit tricky. We've got some nice compliments coming in. I can see there at the bottom of the chat here, just coming in. Lightblade saying, "Gotta say, you two got a good vibe in the box." JR says they should just get it over with. Match made in heaven. Well, I certainly have enjoyed the first 20 minutes of this race, and it's good to have somebody in the box, because I'll tell you what, a lot of the time I do lose my marbles when I'm sat in this box talking to myself for, God knows how long it is, just waffling away, trying to fill in all the gaps and trying to make sure there aren't any, dry spots. But it's great when you got somebody in here who you can actually bounce off of. And, I apologise if I do hold the floor a little bit when I'm commentating. I sometimes just can't stop. But it's nice when, I want to confer or want a second opinion. It's great to have somebody here who I can chat to, and Freeman is that guy. And at the moment, it's you guys are enjoying it, so that's the main thing.
It's an interesting race. Oh, there's Grandad Stu looks to go on the inside. Yeah,
here he goes. Emo guy leaves him the space, and PS Vid's watching this unfold, probably wishing that he was there as well. But we got there's a bit of good contact. And that might allow Chonjig to unlap himself momentarily, although Emo guy does lose out there to Grandad Stu. So Grandad Stu getting that position. PS Vid's now looking to try and knock Emo guy while he's down, but Emo guy, I think, is going to have enough here. But I don't know if that could have just been the
battle for fourth. This.
Yeah, I don't know if it could have just been maybe the back marker, just putting him off a little bit. Obviously, no fault of John Jigs. This is part and parcel of multi-class racing. But I don't know whether that was just a little bit of concentration there from Emo guy, maybe putting him off ever so slightly, and that's given Grandad Stu this P4. Also, one thing I'm noticing right now with Morato is reeling the gap down to Xander Fando. It's now only a second separating these two, although Xander's gained half a second to the middle sector. I don't know if it could have been, again, traffic there with the likes of Ryan having just been lapped, obviously leader of the GT4 class there, Ryan Ruby. But it looks like Xander's got back on the horse a little bit here. But luck definitely gained a little bit through that part of the track.
As just gone up the inside.
As he got back at
moved on.
Yeah. Brilliant stuff from Evo guy. It's not a driver who gives up very easily. I've raced Evo guy many a time, had some great battles in the touring cars, on project cars too, and he's one of those who will keep fighting all the way through till the checkered flag. And I think when he's up against it, when he's got a little bit of an incentive and motivation to get him going, that's when Evo guy's at his best. When there's a little bit of fuel, I think that's when his fire really lights up. And at the moment, he's holding his own at this moment in time. He's currently staying ahead of Grandad Stu, and doesn't look like Grandad Stu's going to be close enough to do it where he did it last time into turn one. You got PS Vids and Recco still on the back of these guys, and just Dan's as well. So as you said, Freeman, 5 cars here, currently putting on a really good show for 4th place. And just Recco and just Dan's have just slowly brought themselves back into this race with the collision that they had on lap 1. Knocking them back a little bit. They've both done well here, and respect to these guys, because after the collision they had early on, it would have been easy for them to get a bit heated and maybe do the same thing again. But they've just said to each other, look, I know we had that moment, but I think we've got to work together here to get the best for each other. And they've done that really well. Is that Recco? Oh, that's a little bit sketchy there, I've got to say. PS Vids, I think, is going to be more than within his rights to be a little bit aggrieved with that one. I don't know if you were on that one, Freeman, but we just got that on the stream. Recco Vantage was extremely aggressive as he went down the inside into turn 6. And if I were PS Vids there, I'll be putting in an inquiry about that one.
It is a difficult one. You see the move on. You think you've got the space to be able to do it, and you can get on the brakes. And then obviously the other car turning in. I mean, personally, if it was me, if I was a car in front, I'd feel that was my apex all day long. But granted, as well, if the space is there and he's allowed him to kind of go in, it's a difficult one. I think one that the stewards would have to review.
It is, yeah, absolutely. It's obviously it's not an open and shut case, and although he was on the inside, I'd say he was behind going into the apex. And the general rule of thumb is that if you throw one down the inside and you're able to make the apex and you're ahead at the corner's apex, then you're more than within your rights to go for it. But I think when you're behind and when the car in front is already turning in, I think it's a difficult one, as you say, and there are grey areas in this, and this won't be solved just by watching it live. And onboard cameras could definitely give us a bit more of an idea as to what went on and what can be done about it, if anything. But Reco Advantage we see in the pits at the moment coming in at the first opportunity, and he's had to reverse into his pit box there, so he must have missed his pit box, and that will cost him a bit more time there in that pit box, but nonetheless.
Just noticed as well, you're saying about Luca Morato catching up to Zander. He's now closed up to second, so
yeah,
really
he is coming. He is. We just went on to that one, and he's now within 0.7 of a second at the moment. But these guys are actually. I'm just noticing here, Freeman as well. One thing to note: they're both gaining on Video Gamer here. So has Video Gamer taken a little bit out of his tyres, a little bit too much, maybe, possibly pushing a bit too hard in this first stint? We know that it can be a factor. And maybe he's just been pushing a bit too hard in the first part of this race, because the gap now down to 3 seconds to Zander van der, and it was around 4 or 5 seconds before. So both of these two coming at the leader. Let's see what the times are. As we can see, Luck is now coming into the pits, and the gap's now back up to 3.4. So Video Game has now extended that gap a little bit more by 0.4 on that previous lap. But Andy and Freeman, ever considered going pro? You both have a nice voice to listen to. I could legit watch an 8-hour race with these comments. Well, I don't think we could sit here and commentate for 8 hours, Joram. but no, for sure. If you want to just play it on repeat 8 times, then you're more than welcome to do that. Light Blade says, smash the like button, guys. Show your appreciation for this epic entertainment. Auto Butcher, commentators curse indeed. Didn't look at the time, to be honest. Just had an alarm set for 4:40 for regular 5 a.m. quali. Yeah, our clocks went forward the other day, Duke Martin. So that one, a little bit of a spanner in the works for anybody who's got used to a certain time, who's in a different time zone, obviously. So apologies for that. I'm sorry. I don't know. I apologise for that. Maybe I should have put an announcement about that, but yeah, sorry about that one. Shame you couldn't be here tonight. JR Sim Racing, if they're going pro, it will be at least £2.50 a minute, which would be £150 an hour. So I'd take that. I'd take that any day. I wouldn't be too put out by that. That sounds like a fair deal. Depends, after a season or two, maybe we could push it up a bit. Don't know. We got JR says remove the dot. Remove the dot. Which dot? Where? Duke Martin, let's go King Quinn. Like they also says JR as well worked for P&O.
Dan's old over the back of Granddad's Stu as well.
Yeah, it's looking pretty tight between these two, as we see Video Gamer and Zander van der both coming into the pits together here. But yeah, this is where it's at the moment. Does Grandad Steele, just Dan's coming to the pits, just Dan to be well positioned to bring himself into the pits now and get the undercut. But he is coming to the pits, so he's doing what I thought would be the obvious choice.
Live advice.
Yeah, if only it was my advice. The stream a little bit behind for them, but I'd love to think that was what made him come into the pits. But who knows? Maybe he's hacked into my internet and he's listening bang on the dot. But
Cheese Monkey's caught up to PS Vids. Oh no, Cheese Monkey's off.
Oh no, Cheese Monkey's disconnected. That's why his internet's gone, and the famous Cheese Monkey. Oh, his internet's gone again. Oh, he can jump back in as long as he gets back in quickly. He might only be a lap down or so, but that is a massive shame for Cheese Monkey, and that's got to be frustrating there. That's got to be an absolute nightmare, as he was coming back through the pack really well. We see Emo Guy, Just Dan's and PS Vids in the pits. We knew Just Dan's was already in. Can he get the jump on Granad Steve? We'll have to see on that one. Emo Guy obviously in the thick of it as well, in the pits. But Cheese Monkey's going to be so disappointed with that one. And the dot from 250. Ah, right, okay, yeah, I think I know what you mean. Andy does comms for my F1 legs. I do a Deep Viper. I knew summer time was changing, just not this week, says Duke Martin. No, it happened this Sunday actually. I know because I was working, and it was a nightmare getting up in the morning. But yeah, it was.
Dan's had a great pit stop there, because he's come out right in the back of Emo.
Yeah, he has. He's definitely won the lottery there, because Emo Guy managed to clear the other guys in the midst of that battle beforehand, Stee and and he was. I think Just Dance has now really played off a blinder here. He was stuck behind Steve before he came into the pits. I reckon he could be positioned to maybe jump him, although it all depends on whether.
Might not have changed tyres, you know.
Do you reckon Just Dance has stayed on the same set?
Yeah, Emo was about 2.5 seconds in front of Grandad Steve, so I think I reckon that he wouldn't have changed tyres.
You could, yeah, you could be onto one there. That's a very good point, because I don't know. At this point, he seems to be all right, but over the course of this final stint, you just don't know what might happen to those tyres. He'll start to struggle in comparison to the others, because a fresh set of tyres are obviously going to be in a better position than a used set. But it's a case of how quickly that degradation is going to come into play. But at the moment, we've got Grandesty in the pits anyway, and so is Mad Max. So we're going to find out pretty shortly if Emo Guy and Just Dance have done enough to stay in front. I imagine they will have done. Luck Morato in a battle for what's the net second place in this race is still pretty close to the back of Xander Fanda. Video Gamer, I wonder if Video Gamer stayed on the same set of tyres, because his gap is now nearly 7 seconds, and it was only about 3 seconds before. So potentially Video Gamer, another who's taken that risk. He doesn't need to, being in the lead of the race, but I reckon he might have just rolled the dice here, which is a very surprising one, because he doesn't need to at all. Oh, as we can see, Steve has managed to... Oh, is he going to jump? Emo Guy looking around the outside. He has done. So Grandad Steve here pulling off an absolute blinder in the pit strategies. Freeman, I am surprised at that one. Has he stayed on the same set of tyres as well? Steve just ahead of Emo Guy and Just Dance. Where is Mad Max? Mad Max is coming out of the pits now, and he's behind Reco Vantage. PS Vids is one who's lost out enormously in this pit window, though. He is nowhere to be seen there. He's lost about 20 seconds to the other guys. But Grandad Steve, the big news here, the big flashpoint, P4 for him in this race, and Emo Guy facing heavy pressure from Just Dance. And Just Dance, after his pit window, he obviously seemed to have played a bit of a strategy wild card, but he's lost out in this one. Oh, is now Grandad Steve getting a little bit loose, and Emo Guy looking to the outside into turn 8 as Grandad Steve hugs that curb, but Emo Guy's going to try and get this one around the long way as he's been... Oh, Grandad Steve's pushing him out wide there. Emo Guy's going to have the inside though for turn 9. Now is Just Dan's going to try and put him. No, he's not, and we can see there Emo Guy's still on the inside, just runs Steve out of road as he's entitled to do with the racing line on the inside, and now Just Dan's trying to stay on the inside. Oh, and it's a bit of contact there between Just Dan and Grandad Steve. That's just irresponsible driving there, impatient driving from Just Dance, and Grandad Steve returns to the track just in front of Torde. You can see there Torde in your shot, but that was, I think Just Dance could have waited a bit longer there. He didn't need to go for that one, and Steve will be cursing that one, and you don't want to see that kind of racing ever here at Motive.
No, while we've been watching that, Xander's actually been taken down into 3rd place now.
Oh, good stuff there from Luck Morato there into 2nd place. But Emo Guy once again will be sat there rubbing his hands together, singing the praises of those behind him, because they have just well and truly wiped each other out and are now 4 seconds adrift of him. So once again, Emo Guy...
If what I thought is right, Emo will be on a fresh set of tyres and the other two won't as well, so it's to be difficult for them to try and peg back that 4 second gap, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Emo Guy is definitely in the best position here to bring this one home. Obviously, the podium drivers tonight, big shout out to these three, because they're in a league of their own. As now we can see that Morato putting a lap there on Kinquin, had to make a late move there. Kinquin was not making it easy for them. It was a very late move to have to try and make the overtake. If he hadn't made that overtake, I think that Xander Fanda would have pounced. But these two having a great fight. They're going to be losing time to Video Gamer the longer they battle, but these three, a massive shout out to them, because they are in another class tonight in the GT3 category. Video Gamer's got an 8 second lead, which isn't massive, you know, over the course of 18 laps. That's about a 4/10 a lap gap, so he's certainly not in another league compared to these two, but these three clearly a step above the rest of them. And at the moment, Luck Morato and Sim League Pro Zand are still giving each other a very, very good scrap indeed. But Emo Guy's now got a 3 second gap to Just Dance, and Just Dance seems to have got away without damage. Oh no, we see Just Dance has lost it again. Oh no, he was just trying to put a lap there on one of the GT4 cars, and I think that was P Bib there that Just Dance was trying to put a lap on, as he was just he was just trying to make his way through the traffic, and he's lost out now. Granada sneaks back up into P5, and Just Dance has got it going once again, but he's dropped behind Reco Vantage here. So Just Dance having a nightmare, as we were talking about him, just as he closed the gap to Emo Guy from 4 seconds down to 3 and was starting to make gains and maybe bring himself back into that battle for fourth. It's all gone wrong for him once again.
Yeah, that's actually good news for Reco there, because he's only 12 points off of Cheese Monkey for first place in the standards.
That's true.
So yeah, it's going to be good points scored for him tonight.
But I think that Xander Flander will be climbing that tail. Oh no, so we talk about him. What is going on tonight? Everybody we talk about is doing something. It's like we jump onto Just Dance and he's going wide and spinning it. We jump onto Xander Flander and he's walloping the polystyrene boards and going straight on at turn 9. So nobody's safe from Big Brother tonight. It seems like whoever we look at, whoever we draw our attention to, is getting it. But at the moment we've got Lamorato just putting a lap there on Nilsson as he just swerves out of the slipstream as he now puts a lap on him. But a gap between Video Gamer and Lamorato, 9 seconds. So Video Gamer looking in cruise control here in this one. JR says, I'll be paying Andy not to mention me on the stream. And JR there also saying Steve needs to stay inside if it's lightning out there tonight. Super unlucky. Also, Butcher, this is a wild race. Tyre strategies will definitely come into play, JR, as well. Apologies for not getting to all these comments tonight. The action is non-stop and it's a struggle to multitask at the best of times. But Lightblade saying, noticed last week when I was racing in this league that Just Dance is very impatient on getting my back markers. He needs to calm that down a bit. He's not just impatient with the back markers, Lightblade, either. I mean, we noticed it a few moments ago. When he was trying to when he was making his way through past Reco Vantage, he didn't need to go for that move into turn 10. He could have just waited for the straight, but he just had a bit of a rush of blood to the head and just went for it a little bit too much. He's a clean driver, it's Just Dance. We've seen him race a few times. Obviously we know that Sunday was a little bit disappointing with the whole shenanigans with the formation lap. It could have just been an honest mistake. Either way, he wasn't going to benefit out of it because it was blatant. But I think maybe as Lightblade says, just calm down a little bit. I can tell he's a clean driver, I can tell he's a fast driver, I can tell he knows what he's doing, but he just needs to kind of learn a lesson from a few of these little incidents. And
moments, I think, is the term that you kind of would need. So knowing when to make that move, when to kind of just follow and try and keep the pressure and force them into an error. That's kind of the idea.
That's the thing. If you're quicker than the person in front of you, then it's only a matter of time before you're either going to pressure them into a mistake. Always, we can see a bit of a contact there between Lamorato and Xander very sensibly backs out of that one coming through turn 2. But just gave him a little bit of a tap in the rear there. I think that Xander might have been a bit caught out by Lamorato and how hesitant he was. I think Lamorato had a little bit of a wobble coming through turn 2, and Xander there did well to avoid any catastrophes there. But these two continuing to lose more time, and I think that's an indicator very much so that Luck did have a bit of a wobble, because he's now 11 seconds behind Video Gamer, so Video Gamer gained a couple of seconds there. So definitely Luck feeling the pressure a bit from Xander at this point. Hopefully he doesn't crack under the pressure and end up taking both of them out, because that would be a real shame, as this is shaping up to be an interesting battle between these two. Gap between Emo Guy and Granasty going up now at 3 seconds. Granasty in turn is pulling away from Reco Vantage. So really the only battle going on out on track is this one for second and third places. Just go to the GT4s, because we've barely even spoken about these guys here tonight. Obviously the GT4.
I've actually been watching Ryan for the last 3 or 4 laps. And he's just putting in consistent lap after lap after lap. I've kind of again had a quick look at the deltas in terms of their lap times. So they've compared Ryan to John Jig, and Ryan's fastest is probably about a second and a half faster than John Jig's. It's difficult just as he slides around the corner, but it's difficult when you're
pushing the limits.
You're kind of that far in front of the driver behind you, and you've got obviously no one in front of you. To keep yourself going for an hour and keeping that concentration. I think you end up kind of just racing yourself and looking at your lap times and trying to beat you at your best, which is good, but can also be detrimental as well because you keep pushing and pushing. It's hard to kind of maintain and make sure you just don't go over the limit, and kind of get yourself into trouble, which Ryan, as we know, can do. But so he's actually put in a really solid race, I think, tonight.
He hasn't put I'd just say he hasn't put a foot wrong, and he runs wide onto the gravel there. So I think we're proving time and time again tonight that whoever we watch is not safe out on track. But he's doing a really good job right now, is Ryan, and we're going to just jump to somebody else before he ends up getting terminal damage to the car and throwing away this race win. But right now we've got Murato and Zander still pretty close, still 2/10 separating these two for second and third places, and this has been a really, really exciting and engaging battle between these two. They're currently some way behind Video Gamer at this point. Video Gamer has he's just said, right chaps, that's it, I'm out of here, and he's jumped onto his horse and he's ridden off into the sunset with this one. But at the moment, it's Murato and Zander still going at it here for the minor placings, so to speak, or rather second and third places. So they still get a spot on the rostrum, but this is for the as I think Ayrton Senna would say, this is the battle for the first of the losers. But obviously these two still very good drivers, and I wouldn't obviously equate them to that, but these two have had a really exciting battle over the course of this race. Zander van der's got the slipstream here, but he's just a little bit too far back, I think, to make anything happen here. He's going to just try and make Murato think he's going to send it, but ultimately I think that is just a ploy to try and force him into a mistake, and at the moment it's not working. Murato's holding firm, he's not giving in, he's not faltering to that pressure, but Zander van der's looking to try and get on with this because he knows that we're into the final third now, and he needs to really go for this. You're not going to get it on strategy now, and it's not really many other factors that can come into play. It's all about who's got the determination, who's got the composure to keep it going to the flag without making any more mistakes. Just noticing on the timing screen, Grandad Steve, I think, must have made a bit of a mistake, or Reco Vantage has just picked up the pace. It could actually be the latter. Reco Vantage could have just been putting in some quick lap times here, because the gap's now down to 0.4 of a second between these two, battling it out over fifth. Last time I looked at the timing board, I didn't notice anything that looked particularly close. So I think that Reco may have just got lucky there with Granassi making a mistake, but he's still behind him at this point, so it's still not job done with those two.
He's closing up on Emo, guys, so I think it was just that Reco Runch has actually just been putting in quicker lap times, to be fair.
Actually, yeah, you're right, it could be. Actually, yeah, it must be, yeah. Thinking about it, yeah, because the gap was around a couple of seconds. It was actually about 2 or 3 seconds between Grandesty and Emo ago the last time I looked, so you are absolutely right there. So yeah, this is why it's good to have two. This is why it's great to have two commentators in the box, because these are the things that people probably watch back the streams and think, oh Andy, come on, wake up, look at look at what you're doing. And obviously Freeman there noticing that straight away, and this is probably the moments where everyone gets frustrated watching this back, thinking, what is he watching? But in the meantime, anyway, Luck and Zander separated by 0.8 of a second. They're still pretty close. Still nothing separating these two. Question is, who's going to win out of the best of the rest battle between Emo Guy, Grandesty and Reco. These guys battling out over 4th, 5th and 6th places at the moment. They've got a bit of a gap back to Mad Max and Just Dance, and PS Vid's still going in 8th and 9th places. Torde completing the top 10 right now. But yeah, at the moment it's looking like this one's going to go down to the wire between Murato and Zander, as we've got lots of comments coming in. Let's get to these comments here. We've got Joam says the game for life from ACC, maybe in relation to, don't know. G said his ping hit 2,000 before he disconnected. Oh my goodness. I tell you what, he needs an Ethernet cable. It's not, they don't cost much. If you've got like plenty of space in your house, if you've got little, like, I don't know, I'm quite lucky because there's like little tram lines at the top of the ceiling, near the top of the wall, so you can sort of run the wires through that. But
bit of a sketchy moment for the people in second and third, coming up to Ryan, I think that was.
Yeah, looked like because obviously Ryan, probably doesn't even realise what's going on behind him right now. He's driving such a quick race. He's the class of the field in the GT4s, and it's probably catching him out every time he sees the GT3 cars on his radar. But nonetheless, they're getting through unscathed at the moment. Xander van der still, I think, just a little bit too far back to do anything here. The Porsche definitely hasn't got the pace that the Bentley has, so the Xander van der should have that speed, but he's just getting there too late, I feel, into the braking zone. He's not quite there in time.
Closing that gap up down the main straight, but then it's these bits that the Porsche will excel. But Xander needs to try and put him off a little bit, look to just fake a move, potentially go a little bit later on the brakes to get a bit closer, so get his eyes on his mirrors, so he's not potentially concentrating so much on his braking points, to try and put him off a little bit, or get a GT4 to help you out.
Oh no, they come together there, as it looked as though Luck just went a little bit wide, a little bit hesitant. Xander van der tried to poke his nose up the inside on the exit of turn 5 into 6, and Luck just tried to take his normal racing line, which would have been obviously the racing line for the next corner. Those two, I don't know if they got damage. I would imagine Luck's probably got a bit more damage than Xander did, as Xander kind of got dragged into the wall, whereas Luck hit it head on. So for me, I reckon if anybody's got more damage, Luck would probably have come off worse than Xander did. Xander, I think, probably got a bit of damage to the right side of his car. Luck's probably got damage to the front of that car, and as anybody knows, the damage at the front of the car can prove costly. But for now, it looks like both of them pretty even still over the course of the rest of this lap. In fact, if anything, Luck seems to have got away better. It seems like his car's driving a little bit more comfortably at this point than Xander's is. So maybe Xander van der could be ruining that little incident there, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, I've just noticed as well that PS Vids has caught up to Just Dance.
Yeah, it's only 8 tenths.
Down the field as well, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what's happened here to Just Dance, if he's made another mistake or what, but or has he got damage on the car potentially, which is knocking him back. But nonetheless, it's looking like Reco Vantage has also got himself all over the back of Grenade Stee here. Only 6 tenths of a second separating these two. You got Grenade Stee's a couple of seconds behind Emo Guy, and actually Emo Guy's managed to keep that gap. In fact, he's managed to extend it very slightly over the last couple of laps. So Emo Guy ever so slightly quicker than Stee and Reco Vantage, but Reco is looking pretty racy here on the back of Stee. And Reco, to be fair, he's had his fair share of unfortunate moments in this race. We saw him obviously got taken out by Just Dance earlier on before Just Dance's big mistake, which dropped him way down. But yeah, Reco Vantage has been solid in this race, and he'll be looking to, I think, damage limitation in this one, trying to recover what he can out of this one. Grenade Stee at the moment holding his own, but Grenade Stee very wide there through 3. Reco Vantage doing the same thing though, and he's a little bit too far back to make anything happen coming into turn 4. But yeah, while these two focus on each other, it's giving Emo Guy once again a bit of breathing spaces. Now Reco's looking to the outside here, in towards turn 5. Can he get it around the outside? No. Once again, expert defending there from Grenade Stee, not allowing him any route around. And Grenade Stee not being phased in any way, shape or form. The Lazy Camel says, I think Emo will be lucky to get onto the podium. It's still a big gap. Oh yeah, he's not going to get onto the podium. No chance. No chance. Not in a month of Sundays.
Since that collision, Xander has been dropping pace quite considerably. So, 10 minutes to go. It's highly unlikely, but
yeah, actually, I now you mention it. I mean, it's coming down, but yeah, I think it's just too late. I think it's too little, too late. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think he's in a position to do anything here, because it's I think it's about 40 seconds now, 40 seconds between them. It would take a colossal effort for Emo Guy. It would take more damage than that, I think, for Xander van der to lose this one now. But never say never. If Xander makes a mistake, obviously the car is going to be difficult to drive under these circumstances. So, don't rule him out making another mistake and managing to incur more damage. But I think it's unlikely. But nonetheless, anyway, Reco Vantage is still on the back of Grenade Stee here, 3 tenths. Currently separating these two, still in the battle for P5. Emo Guy, though, has put daylight between himself and these two, so I don't know if these two have had a little trip over each other over that last lap, but they seem to have lost quite a bit of ground to the man currently running in P4. But the gap 34 seconds between Xander Fando and Emo Guy. We're going to keep an eye on this because Xander seems to be losing quite a lot of time around the lap. He seems to be losing about 3 seconds a lap, possibly more. So he's definitely got some quite severe damage. Oh no, was there?
Yeah, seems to have sorted themselves out, but yeah, there's a little bit of contact. I think Recco was just a little bit later on the brakes and tapped the rear end of Grandad Stu, but they seem to sort it out and now got carried on back on racing.
It's good to see they got that together, but I think that's not the first time they've had a little bit of a to-do. As Xander Flanders got ahead of Luck Morato, so Luck Morato's let him past. Well then. I mean, he's not going to find it too hard to get back ahead of him with the damage, but having said that, it looks like Luck's got a bit of damage on the right side of that car. But I don't know what he's trying to do there. Is he just trying to be sportsmanlike? Because he's going to surely breeze past him at some point between now and the end of the race, you would have thought, with the damage on Xander's car. But well, nonetheless, he's given that back to him. And is Luck now going to go and try and take that position back off of him? Or is he going to just follow him home? Maybe Luck is trying to go the extra mile with the sportsmanship here, and he's just going to sit on the back of him and let Xander take this second place. That is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I didn't really see what actually happened. I didn't see if he was just sitting there waiting for him, or could have easily not thought if there was a mistake involved.
Yeah, well, he's looking down the inside now. So Luck Morato sends one into turn 9, and Xander sees him coming, pulls to the outside, now gives him the space. Is he going to try and get the run into turn 10? He's not going to be able to, because Luck's got that inside line and it's got the momentum. So he comes through and gets himself back up into second place once again. But Xander with a little bit of a wobble there coming through turn 11. But yeah, Luck now back up into P2, and we know that Luck's got a lot less damage on the car than Xander's got. I think he's just trying to do the right thing there, trying to play by the rules, trying to follow the rules to a T. Although he knows that he's got the pace over Xander, he wants to at least look like he's trying to, I think, follow the code of conduct here at motive racing, which is if you do take someone out, give them the position back. But in this case, obviously, it is minimal consolation for Xander Fanda, because first of all, his hands are tied.
Battling between Recco, right now.
Yeah, Xander's. Oh yeah, we are actually. Yeah, it looks as though Recco's looking down the inside of Grandad. Steve's going to run him out of the road. No, he's very courteous. He gives him the space on the outside. Now Steve's got the inside for the first part of the chicane, but Recco the inside for the second part, and back down the inside. Can Steve come back at him though, coming down this long straight? The Bentley will have to pace over the Porsche coming down this straight. So I think Steve might be in a good position to try and come back at him here. There's nothing between them coming over the line. Recco Vantage is weaving all over the place though, trying to break that toe. Here goes Steve. He's going to pick up that toe now. He's going to look round the outside. Recco Vantage is not going to make it easy for him at all, but Grandad Steve has got the position around the outside. Goes a little bit later on the brakes. Can he get it stopped in time? He does so. Grandad Steve there brilliantly coming back at Recco Vantage. Recco Vantage is going to look back down the inside for turn 3 though, and Steve's going to give him the space on the inside. These two are coming up on one of the back markers, who gets well out of the way. I think that was John Jig there moving out of the way. It was either John Jig or Pete Bibb, but nonetheless, Recco Vantage has done really well there to get that one completed on Grandad Steve. Those two having a great battle coming through that section of the track, and Recco does complete that one. But I thought that Grandad Steve was going to come back at him there, coming down the straight for a moment.
Yeah, great bit of racing that. Always nice to see close battling when there's no contact made as well. I think the trouble with Steve, what happened was just going out wide. You know, you don't get the grip, you can't get that power down as early as you would do, or that Recco could do, for being in the inside line. And that ultimately what cost him. By the time he was able to get his power down, Recco was kind of already going, you know, and this is what I got.
I think it is. Yeah, no, I was going to say, and also it's a case of having the slipstream up towards turn 1 would have given him that little bit of overspeed compared to what he's used to, because he got such a good toe coming down the straight, and that would have just unsettled him a little bit coming into turn 1. So yeah, I think it's a combination of everything, but mainly, as you say, having that preferred line just gave Recco the position. coming to the next part of the corner. But Recco Ryan's just going up into 4th place there. Fifth even, sorry. And he's done a really good job, obviously, in this race. He's come back from that skirmish with Just Dan's in the earlier part of the race. And he's just got his head down. He's kept going. He's not given up. He's not got defeatist about it. He's just got on, done his race, and despite what's an obvious bit of damage there on the front of that Porsche, he's just worked his way through it. And respect to him for the way he's gone about his business in this race. Yeah, really good stuff. That's only my second hiccup of the evening. With a commentary partner, it's a little bit easier to catch my breath, so there aren't as many hiccups. But we can see Recco there just putting a lap on the GT4 race leader there, Ryan Ruby. Ryan's just in front of Gunnesty. You see there, it's probably going to not make this too hard for Gunnesty, I wouldn't have imagined. And in fact, it's not really going to take too much of a fight there for Gunnesty to breeze through. But in terms of the rest of the battles right now, like Morato's gap Xander, it's not really a battle between those two because Xander had both hands tied behind his back in that battle, down to the fact that he has major damage compared to like Morato only having minimal damage on his Porsche. So when like Morato, I suppose, gentlemanly gave the position back to the Xander Fender, that it was obviously a bit of a it was one of those gestures where it's a bit like it's a consolation thing, and ultimately he's trying to do the right thing by the letter of the law, but it's not really going to make any difference, and he took the position back very easily down to the difference in damage to the two cars. But the gap 25 seconds now that Video Game has got over Lap Morato, and I think that the battle between Lap Morato and the collisions that these two, and Lap Morato and Xander, had maybe has flattered the margin a little bit, but Video Gamer has done an absolutely superb job here tonight. I didn't expect this one, Freeman, coming into this. I don't know about yourself, but he's really impressed me.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think you called it right, start or at end of qualifying.
Miracle, that.
Yeah, my money was on Xander or Cheese Monkey. But yeah, he's literally, much like Ryan, you know, both of those took pole in their qualifying, and both of them haven't got the foot wrong. Been out of trouble and kind of just been able to run away with it. You know, the battling behind them, I think, has helped, but also as well, like I said, you know, looking at the deltas earlier, Video Gamer was putting in the quickest lap, so yeah, well deserved. 2 minutes left though, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Who knows if he's under judged his fuel or something, or who knows what if a back mark, maybe on his final warning, or a back marker decides to take the law into his own hands, then who knows what could happen over the course of this final couple of laps. But yeah, it's looking very much like Video Game has got this one signed and sealed, and he's gone up to the post. Obviously he's got the stamp on it, and it's the postman's still yet to come, but he's put it in the sack and it's ready to go. But right now it looks like Luck's got the gap to 6 seconds as well over Xander Fando. In terms of the GT4 class win, similar story really to the GT3s. We've had one driver who's been head and shoulders above the rest.
Yep. Ryan, yeah, as we mentioned earlier, you know, not put a foot wrong tonight. Really solid performance. You know, and like I said again before, maybe that first winner's given him confidence. He looks like a seasoned professional now. The way he's handled tonight, it is really difficult when you're kind of racing out on your own. You know, just lap round for an hour, but yeah, top job from Ryan. To be fair, it's what we expect from him, being a Monday JC boy.
Of course.
You know, both him and Cod, I think, both doing really well this season for their GT4s. It's going to be an interesting battle between those two, actually, for the championship, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be closer now for sure. I think Ryan's probably going to be leading it after tonight, but Cod was obviously leading by a little way in after the first couple of rounds. I can't remember what points Ryan was on after the first one.
Yeah, so Ryan's on 55 at the moment, and Cod is on 70, but then you've also got John Jig as well, who is on 60 points, I believe. Let me just double check. Yeah,
coming into this
points.
one.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's, to be fair, he's one that we haven't really spoke about tonight, is John Jig.
Solid P2.
Yeah, I've always thought he's a solid driver. I think I've always felt with John Jig, he always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Gets caught up in a lot of incidents, a lot of little bits that are going on.
One thing I've always said about him is that he's exceptional in the wet. I noticed he needs to go well in the wet, but also qualifying, he seems to be. I've noticed a couple of times in the GT4s, he's put it on pole in qualifying, and then especially in the wet. But then in the race, it just all seems to go Pete Tong for him for whatever reason. I think the pressure, or maybe he gets a bit demoralised with a bad start. Thinks lets it get to his head a bit, and it just all kind of falls apart. But he's got the potential to be a race winner. I'm sure about that.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
But we've got to definitely. We've got to go back to our race leader though, because this man has demolished it in the last part of the race. He had a solid lead over Morato and Anafanda earlier. I mean, he had about a 10-second lead up until the last third of the race. The 25-second gap is pretty much down to the other two crashing each other out, but nonetheless, Video Gamer is going to take an emphatic win here in Barcelona for round 3 of the multi-class series. The GT3 class is now looking to be a little bit more open than what it was before, because Video Gamer gets off the mark for his first win of the season, and Xander Fanda, last week's race winner down in P3, Luck Morato, is going to come into the final chicane. Don't know if there's going to be any inquiries going on with the incident with Xander Fanda. Who knows what the stewards will make of that one. Hopefully they'll be putting it in and we can review that and come to a fair decision. But Luck Morato up towards the line takes a P2 here in the GT3 class, so a really good result there for him. And he did a very, very solid defence there from Xander Fanda as well before. Obviously it all went wrong, but Xander Fanda coming out of the last corner will complete the podium for the GT3 class here. PS Vids and Pete Bibb have both finished the race already in the GT4 class. Xander Fanda over the line to take P3. Now, where is Ryan? That's the question. Ryan's just coming through the middle sector. You've got Nilsson a lap down, just coming round to complete the race. He will finish this one in P3 in class. King Quinn coming out of the final corner. Who will be the next over for the GT3 class? Recco Vantage just coming over now to finish P5. King Quinn will finish in 4th in the GT4s, just ahead of Granad Steve, who comes over in 6th in the GT3 class. Just Dan's coming out of the last corner. Snooky's finished the race in 5th in the GT4s, or 5th, I don't know, 6th I think it is. Just Dan's 6th in the GT3s. Mad Max coming through. In fact, no, I've lost track of who's where now because people have left the server.
Just coming down the start-finish now.
Yeah, here he comes. Ryan Ruby. What a win from Ryan tonight. What can we say about him? He's just not put a foot wrong here, apart from the 2 times that we saw him go wide on the gravel. But yeah, Ryan Ruby, his second win here at Motive, and his second win in the space of 2 weeks in this GT4 class. He's looking like a real force to be reckoned with. Cod will be kicking himself with not being here this week, because it's really given Ryan the impetus in that championship battle. Cheese Monkey retired a few laps from the end. Torde got a bit unfortunate at the end, lost a bit of ground, and finished behind the GT4 guys. But towards the end, he was doing a really good job there of keeping with the rest of the GT3 guys. But that's that then, everybody, for the multi-class series, round 3 of the season here at Barcelona. Freeman, what a race we've had, what a night of action. It's been really, really great stuff from these guys, and I've thoroughly enjoyed having you alongside me in the box. It's been great to have somebody to bounce off of and enjoy the action with, and kind of just chat to about what's going on, really. For you personally tonight, I've got to ask you who your driver of the day is for both categories. I have a feeling I know who the answer is going to be for the GT4s, but over to you. Who do you reckon?
Yeah, it's got to be so Ryan Ruby, definitely for the GT4s. Kind of as we've said, I think his the total start to finish absolutely superb. And I do you know what? I'm going to have to give it to Video Gamer as well. I know it's easy cop out to go for the two winners, but you know, putting it on pole and keeping it there and actually maintaining that gap. I know obviously the second part of the race was more to do with the battling behind, but keeping the gap between Xander and maintaining that till the pit stops takes some doing. So yeah, Video Gamer will be my driver of the day for the GT3s.
Yeah, and for me, Ryan, absolute no-brainer there. Taking driver of the day for that one. I'd love to go contrary. I'd love to actually say, look, I'd like to do something different, but I'm going to have to be really boring and go for the same. We're both going to go for the same option here, because it is just there were two guys tonight in two different categories who just shone high above the rest. So Video Gamer and Rugby, congratulations to those guys. But also honourable shout-outs to Marato and Xanafander as well, because they put on a really exciting battle for the podium spots. But that's all we got time for tonight. And I want to say a big thank you to everybody who commented live on the stream, to Freeman for joining me tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. I hope to do this many more times in the future.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, but really enjoyed it.
Yeah, hopefully this will be, we'll have Freeman in the box for this multi-class series in the future, hopefully every week, because it's certainly enjoyable for me and enjoyable for the viewers. I'm sure they all loved it. I can see they all loved it in the comments section. Joe, I'm saying thanks for the comments, Andy and Freeman. You should ask like €3 per race or something. that would account for about 10% of Motive Racing's net worth. So that would be a bit of a challenge. But nonetheless, guys, I want to say a big thank you to everybody. Hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe, and join us at www.motiveracing.com. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great evening, and see ya.
Bye.